First off, thank you for the invitation to present our study findings with you today. My name is Matt Stork, and I'm a postdoctoral research fellow working at the University of British Columbia in Canada. Today, I'll present the main findings of an industry research collaboration project that I led. And the title of my talk is Examining the Impact of an mHealth app on Functional Movement and Physical Fitness.
For this talk, I will go over the study background and purpose, describe the study methods and measures, and present some key findings. And for the purpose of time, I'll only present findings for the measures that were of primary interest. And then I'll finish off by briefly discussing some of the implications from the findings. There are thousands of mobile apps available for download that are geared towards health and fitness, yet limited research has evaluated the real-world effectiveness of such apps. The Mover app is a mobile health app designed to enhance physical functioning by prescribing functional movement training based on personalized movement assessments. However, Mover's influence on functional movement and physical fitness has not yet been scientifically investigated. Therefore, the purpose of this study was to examine the real-world impact of Mover on functional movement and physical fitness. The participant sample for this study consisted of 48 healthy adults, which were 24 women and 24 men. This was a mostly active sample, but some participants were low active as well. The study consisted of an 8-week pragmatic randomized controlled trial where participants were randomized to either Mover group or a waitlist control group. Here is a brief overview of what Mover looks like and some of its main components to give you a sense of how it works. So the first thing you complete on the app are called movement assessments, and these help identify any functional limitations. Then workouts are prescribed based on your own personal goals. So for example, I tend to have restricted shoulder mobility, so I would be prescribed to complete an upper body workout to open up my shoulders. Then there's what are called minis, which is a component of Mover that are these 5-minute bite-sized exercises designed to build on flexibility and strength. Here's an example of an exercise prescribed in a mini session. And as you can see, there are digital cartoons that are little videos to help demonstrate the movement actions, as well as human images with detailed steps to refer to make sure you know how to complete a given exercise. Then through the app, there are also something called builders, and builders are longer in duration, and they're a component that allows you to self-select the duration of the activity the amount of time you have available, what equipment you have, and whether you want to do an upper, lower body focus, etc. So here is an overview of the study protocols. So for the first lab visit, participants came in and completed a battery of flexibility and strength tests, which I will show in the next slide. They then completed the 7 functional movement screen movements, which were video recorded. And then finally, they completed a VO2 max test on a cycle ergometer. Then we have the 8-week intervention period, where for the control group, participants were told to maintain typical physical activity, diet, and sleep habits, so basically just carry on as usual, whereas those in the Mover group were told the exact same thing, except they were also asked to complete 4 minis and 2 builders per week. It's important to know that there was no behavioral counseling or behavior change techniques used in order to reflect the real world, free living experiences of using a downloaded app. And then finally at visit 2, the follow-up testing, participants completed the exact same protocol and order as visit 1. Presented here is the battery of flexibility and strength tests, as you can see. And we have the sit and reach, half kneeling dorsiflexion, push-ups, hand grip strength, and counter movement jump. The FMS was the primary outcome of interest for the RCT. I've included some pictures here to show you our setup. We had two tripods set up in the lab to capture both frontal and sagittal plane views for each test. And you can see one of the tripods here as an example. For this study, we actually used a 100-point FMS scoring system instead of the traditional 21-point system. This was done to improve the precision of scoring. We broke down each video and angle frame by frame to score the movements for each participant. The total scores out of 100 included scores from all 7 movements. So first off, I will present the findings for the primary outcome measure, the 100-point FMS. And just to orient you to what the figure represents here, as well as the subsequent figures that I'll be presenting, in the y-axis we'll have the score for the given test. In this case, this is the score for the 100-point FMS. And in the x-axis, you'll see pre and post scores for each group, for the control and then for the mover. And what you can see here, these circles and bars here, these are the means and these are standard deviation error bars. And these gray lines represent individual data points. So for the 100-point FMS, using a mixed repeated measures ANOVA, we found a significant group by time interaction, and then pairwise comparisons showed a significant improvement from pre to post intervention for the mover group, as well as a significant decrease from pre to post in the control group. Presented here are the outcomes for the main flexibility and strength tests. These outcome measures all had the same findings. So using mixed repeated measures ANOVAs, we found significant improvements from pre to post intervention in the mover group, but no significant differences from pre to post for the control group. Note that for the shoulder reach scores, a lower score indicates an improved range of motion, as it suggests a shorter distance between an individual's fists across their back. Interestingly, for VO2 max, we found a significant decrease from pre to post in the control group, and no significant differences from pre to post for the mover group. So the scores were actually maintained there, which was certainly an interesting finding. So as a brief recap of the findings, 8 weeks of using mover led to improved functional movement, improved flexibility, improved muscular endurance, and maintenance of aerobic fitness. I will finish off by briefly discussing some potential implications from the findings. The findings of the study provide initial evidence of the effectiveness of the Mover app for enhancing functional movement and physical fitness. Improvements to FMS, flexibility, and strength have several potential benefits and implications for musculoskeletal health, injury prevention, and improved quality of physical activity. As well, with COVID-19, there's certainly more people working from home, and this will likely continue to have some form of impact on sedentary behavior and physical inactivity, especially as we get back to the winter and colder weather. So digital technology can play a considerable role in helping curb such trends by providing remote access to health and fitness. So therefore, Mover may be a viable mHealth option for individuals as they adapt to work from home and social distancing. This was also a minimalistic intervention, as no behavior change techniques were explicitly incorporated into the development of Mover or used for the intervention, yet Mover was still effective. So there may be potential to be even more effective if behavior change techniques were incorporated in the future. The findings from this study are published in JAMR mHealth and uHealth. So if you'd like to take a look at the full manuscript, please feel free to access the article using the link, DOI, or QR code provided on this slide. Finally, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the sources of funding for this project, MyTax Canada and Lululemon Athletica, and the Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research for their postdoctoral award to support my research. And I'd like to acknowledge my collaborators on this project, my co-authors, Dr. Mary Jung and Ethan Bell in particular.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen in. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I've provided my contact information here for you on this slide, so please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or follow-up of any sort.